Oh, hello. This is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video and would like to receive notifications of my future videos, please subscribe. I think it's probably true for everybody that we sometimes learn lessons from places that we did not expect. It turned out to have important applications in our life. Many years ago, when I first started as a graduate student, which is so long ago, I would call it the last century. I still recall this lesson very well when I first, with my graduate advisor, start learning how to do experiments in the laboratory. I will call him Dr. D for the purpose of this video. So my training to work in the laboratory started when he asked me to spend a month to prepare a solution, which we commonly call it a buffer solution. A buffer solution, as you can imagine, just like our blood has a pH, which is the value of acidity versus alkalinity around 7.4, and it's always stay right at that number. A pH 7.4 turned out to be critical for the biochemical reaction that take place in our body. To me, the best way to explain a buffer is that think of it as an equilibrium system. That if you put weight on one side, the system will put weight on the other side, so it always will go back to that equilibrium. And this is carried out by chemicals in the solution. So Dr. D gave me the instruction how to make this buffer solution. And he told me that I'm going to spend the next month to make this solution over and over again. And at the end of the month, I need to go back and talk to him, explain to him why the different ingredients is present in this solution. In other words, he said, I want you to have a complete understanding of how this solution actually works. Secondly, he said, I want you to make this solution over and over again until you find the most efficient way for you to do this. Anything you can do to make it simpler, faster, and more importantly, to make it more accurate, to make sure that you would never make a mistake. In the back of my mind, I said, oh, well, that is pretty easy. I probably will get this done in about a week. It turned out that making the solution is not difficult at all. I figured it out in about a week, and I got it pretty good at it in about 2 weeks. But one thing actually was surprising to me is that the more I do it, the more I start to want to learn more about how this solution works. So I keep looking things up about the different ingredients. But more interestingly is that I'm not only figure out how it works, but I also figure out how it could go wrong. And that turned out to be probably the most valuable lesson for me. So by the end of the month at a prescribed date, I went back to meet with Dr. D and I told him what I have learned, and I explained to him that I really enjoy doing this, not because of the fact that I feel that I'm doing it better, but I feel that I really understand how it works. And Dr. D said to me, he said, that is the intention, because I want you to know this as well as possible, because like everything else, the little important component in the system sometimes could be very small, but it turned out to be critical. So from now on, everything you're going to do, you need to fully understand how it works. Dr. D went on to tell me that he said, if you want to become really a good researcher, it is important for you to understand exactly what you are doing, because through that, you will be able to see possibilities. And from the possibilities is where you will make discoveries. Unfortunately, I do not follow Dr. D's advice all the time. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And when I don't, I realize that his word is so important, because I could have made my life a little bit easier if I have listened to him. Once I start become more serious in my cooking, I suddenly realized that cooking in fact is not that different from doing experiments in the laboratory, because you're constantly exploring possibilities and you're constantly finding out how you would do something differently. And from there, you will come up with discovery. In this case, it's not to solve problems of the world, but actually solve a very important problem for yourself, and how to eat healthier and how to enjoy food better. So in this video, I'm going to use this opportunity to use the same approach and to talk to you about how to use cornstarch to make a sauce. I know you probably say that this is too trivial. What is there to know about just using cornstarch to make a sauce? Note that the sauce play a critical role in stir fry. In fact, a good sauce is important in all cookings. And to make the sauce right could make a huge difference in a dish. The first question I would like to help you to answer is that why did you use cornstarch rather than flour in making a sauce during stir fry? To answer this question, I'm going to first address the chemistry of how cornstarch in thickening to create a sauce. A starch is a polymer, means that a complex long-chain molecule that make from glucose that plants produce. A starch is a way for plants to store glucose in their cell, and when they need it, they just break it down. The equivalent of starch in animal is known as glycogen. It has a slightly different molecular structure, but it serves the same purpose, that is to store glucose. So cornstarch is nothing more than the starch stored in the corn seed. So through the chemical extraction process, you get cornstarch. A cornstarch thickens a sauce through the process of heating. Now, if you put cornstarch in a solution, say in a suspension, it would not combine together. But once you heat it up, the molecules start to interact with each other and they form a mash. And this mash is the result of the sauce. Now, flour also has starch, but the starch in the flour is only half as much as in the case in cornstarch. Flour, therefore, do not thicken as well as cornstarch. In fact, flour is only half as effective as cornstarch because it only contains half as much of the starch molecules. When cornstarch is thickened, you probably notice that the result is translucent. However, in the case of flour, it becomes opaque because there are other contaminants in the flour causing the opacity of the result. So furthermore, because of the concentration of the starch molecule in cornstarch in compared to flour, cornstarch thickens much faster. The typical way to make a thickening sauce with cornstarch is that first of all, you suspend the cornstarch in water to make a slurry. You then add the slurry to the dish in the wok, and then you heat it up, and you will see the thickening process take place almost immediately as you mix everything together. Of course, the thicker the slurry that you have, the thicker the sauce you're going to create. The temperature of when you heat up the cornstarch is also very important. The hotter the temperature, the faster the sauce will be thickened. So as Dr. D always told me that you should make everything as simple as possible. So over the years, I have been thinking about how do I make this process simpler. Perhaps I can add the cornstarch directly to the dish. I quickly discovered that it actually will work, but it will only work under certain circumstances. In here is an example I'm going to demonstrate to you that if you have a dish in the wok that already has a lot of fluid, then you can add the cornstarch directly to it. As long as your wok is not very hot and you can stir the content right away, this will mix in well and you can see that the sauce start to thicken. I find this method to be very useful because it saves several steps. First of all, I do not have to make a slurry in the beginning. And secondly, I have fewer things to wash afterward. I can also add a little bit more cornstarch if I want the sauce to be thicker. However, this will work only up to a certain point. Now, if your sauce is already quite thick or you don't have enough fluid in your dish, then what happens is that when you add the cornstarch, they will gel together and they will form little goblets. And therefore, the conclusion is that if you do not have much fluid in your dish, then you need to make a slurry first. On the other hand, if you already has a lot of fluid in the dish, in the wok, then you can add the cornstarch powder directly. With this understanding, I have found that I am more effective in using cornstarch making the sauce that I want. This approach is generally the principle of my fast cooking system with flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir frying, and template-based cooking. I'm always looking to create foods that are more efficient as well as more tasty for me. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like icon below because this will help me to reach a broader audience. If you'd like to receive notifications of my future video postings, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll see you next time.